Thank you again for coming into another episode of Dying with Diabetes in America. Of course, my name is Michelle Robinson, and I'm here with my co-host, the brains of the operation, Mike Herlihy. Say hi, Mike.
Hi, Mike. There we go. Done. How you doing this week? Okay. Highs, lows. What's going on?
Okay, so I've actually been doing pretty awesome. So I got my Libres, as we talked about, and on the last episode, and I've been able to see the highs and the lows. In the mornings, I've started doing something different. I put on the pandemic 40 or whatever it is now.
50.
And
let's be honest.
no, it's been awful. So in the mornings, I thought okay, I need to change some things. I have drank Slim Fast for 15 years. Easy. When it used to come in the middle, crappy little cans.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, that was just a solid carbohydrate needle I could take, and I knew I would be okay.
You got a favorite flavor? Are you straight up chocolate?
No, straight up chocolate. I'd not milk chocolate. I'd rather the rich chocolate Royale.
Are you supposed to refrigerate those things, or can you drink them just straight off the shelf?
You need to refrigerate. It's very important. If you have them warm, or even if you pull them out and they're cold and then they get warmed up and you try to chill them, it's not good. It's just not good. But they're okay. They're yummy and they hold me until lunch without having to take a snack. So I was like, all right, I'm going to do half a Slim Fast. And I'm going to add in a cup of kale, uncooked, raw kale. Yep. I'm going to add in a teaspoon of peanut butter and a teaspoon of Greek yogurt vanilla because I don't trust plain yogurt.
Why not just add a teaspoon of cinnamon and apple cider vinegar and cure your diabetes entirely?
I added cinnamon too. I added chunk. This should be the cure. Cinnamon. It's a beautiful thing. Makes me really, really happy. So, and then 5 ice cubes, and I mix it, and it's good. That first hit, you're drinking something with nasty ass kale in it. And if you throw kale in it, you should always make sure to break off the stem because that's the most bitter part. So I was doing that, and I've had it for a week now. And I'm feeling good. My blood sugar is beautiful in the mornings. I'm not spiking like I would normally.
Well, that's awesome. I think maybe I need to look into some of that Slim Fast stuff because my gym has been closed since this all started.
Are they still closed?
No, they recently opened back up. But the problem is the girl that works the front desk, we were kind of clicking, and I put on
now she has a mask on.
No, not that. I put on some pandemic weight. So I actually have to lose weight just to look good enough to go back to my gym. I can't be just showing up all heavy and stuff, So
I'm not going to lie.
Conundrum.
I used to work at a gym, Bally's, when they were still a huge thing. And I remember I was really good friends with the front desk girl. I was a salesperson. God help them. But Natasha, my front sales girl, would always give me a heads up if a hot guy was coming in the gym. But normally she was just And you were oh, yeah, no, I'm glad you're here.
See, I'd be great in sales at the gym right now with them going, well, what kind of discounts do you give? None. Well, what kind of benefits are there? None. Then why am I going to sign this? I'm like, do you want to look like me? No. Where do I sign?
Exactly.
This is the before. I'm the before picture for you. Yeah.
But if you're selling, you need to be the after.
No, not really, because after's too intimidating. Look, most people don't like showing up and having the best looking, most well-built guy in the place telling you what to do. It's intimidating.
Like Chris Pratt before? In what's in
Parks and Rec? I love them in Parks and Rec. Sure.
Or did you like him more Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah, but was Chris Pratt a better person when he was Parks and Rec? Because once he got all Guardian of the Galaxy, he dumped the girl who had stuck with him while he was Parks and Rec.
Anna Faris, it still blows my mind. I'm wait a minute, that one chick and that one horror movie,
Yeah,
it's bananas.
Well, Not to push you, but you said that you actually had an amazing guest for us this week, and you were super excited to have her on. So, did you want to tell me a little bit about her?
I would love to, but you're gonna have to bring her on. But her name is Sarah Lawless. And okay, so I'm not gonna lie, like my geek side really turned out
Mm-hmm.
because I love Lucy Lawless,
Mm-hmm.
Xena, warrior princess.
And any relation?
No, but that doesn't matter. Her
So
last
you
name like
you booked a
rang with
guest
me.
solely on the last name.
And she's a diabetic.
Oh,
So
well
I
then she
mean,
meets all the criteria
check,
we have then.
check,
Okay. Well,
exactly.
let's get her in here and stop making her feel awkward in the green room. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Miss Sarah Lawless to the
Hi
show.
guys.
Hi, Sarah.
So like you have no familial what is it? What am I trying to think of? You have no
You're not
genealogical.
related to Lucy Lawless.
No, unfortunately. I
Well,
wish, but
there you go. I
I
gotta tell
love
you
that you
right
know who
now,
she is.
your whole background, this is like the first time I've seen this. You look like you're in some kind of horror film about to happen.
Oh
Like
my
the way
god, I
your
was
room
gonna
is set
say the
up,
same
it's
thing.
I'm waiting for some like little specter light to go flying across the back or the door to just slam. Like I'm saying it looks amazing, but it's very like
it'll
I
go
want
black in a
popcorn.
second. There'll be something in the
Eh,
background.
I
Bananas. No,
love
I
it.
love it.
Where you,
Paranormal activity
that's
all
what
the
I was
way.
looking at. Sarah,
Mm-hmm.
where are you coming from? Where are you living?
I live in North Carolina.
Oh, nice. What part?
Yeah. So I'm from Winston-Salem, but right now I live in Boone because I'm going to App State.
Oh, Boone.
Have you
Now,
ever heard of that?
I think we got lost there
Yes.
because Michelle
Oh
and I
my god.
years ago went up to Asheville, North Carolina,
Hmm.
and kind of went all around because that was back when you didn't have maps on your phone. So we had
You got me
maps,
lost.
and I was calling my mother in Florida, asking her to tell me which road to go on when
Can you
she
go
had been in
on
North Carolina.
Yahoo Maps?
Yeah.
We're gonna give you a random spot. No, he totally got us lost, like so lost. But
Ah,
North Carolina was beautiful. I
I love
mean,
it. I also hate it, but I love
yeah.
it.
Well, that's
yeah,
funny because when we were up there, we loved North Carolina, but we hated each other. So see
that's
how
true.
that all works out? Everybody, I love Asheville though. I tell people all the time if I
Uh,
have a chance to retire and pick the place, it's probably gonna be Asheville.
Hmm.
Cafe on the Corner in
Mm-hmm.
Asheville, North Carolina, was one of my favorite places. The favorite place I had to go eat breakfast. They were amazing.
Have you been to the Chocolate Lounge?
No.
Oh, they
No.
have so many chocolate shops there.
You know, I love how we've been on this podcast for just
Chocolate
about 7 minutes, and it
Lounge.
takes 7 minutes for chocolate to come into the
The
conversation.
shut up! Nobody likes you. The Chocolate Lounge. I'm writing this
Have to check that out.
down. Heck yeah!
So, Sarah, you North Carolina all your life?
Yep.
Okay. And how old? Type 1 diabetic, right?
Hmm.
Okay. And how old were you when you were diagnosed?
8 years old, and my 10-year
Oh.
anniversary was 2 days ago.
Oh,
Yeah.
Happy diet
hey.
anniversary! Like that's great. I'm glad.
Diversary, is that a thing? That's a thing?
It is. It is. It's when, like, I'm not gonna lie. I don't remember the day that I was diagnosed, but I wasn't taking it seriously either. So I was just
Mhm.
like, yeah, whatever. I have diabetes.
In
That's
fact,
been me
while
for the past 10 years.
Hey,
I used to
God,
have
my
pictures of her in Asheville downing like funnel cakes, just powdered
no,
funnel cakes.
no,
Or elephant ear. Which one was it?
No, we didn't have either in North Carolina. We went to that adorable restaurant that I don't know the name of. That was like $3 for a full meal
Mhm.
of an entree and two sides and a drink, and
But
we
you
were like,
did. You had the
"Holy
paper
heck!"
plate with the
No,
elephant ear.
no,
100%. We'll
no.
argue later. We got Sarah here. Can you
Pancakes.
not
Okay,
argue in front of?
pancake.
Can you not argue in
Whatever.
front of
Can
Sarah,
you not bring up
please?
lies?
Mm,
Anyway,
by lies
Sarah.
you mean facts. Sure, I'll stop. All right.
So, Sarah, tell us, how did you figure out you were type 1? Did a fairy come down from the sky and be like, type 1? Was it drinking, peeing a lot? Was it a hospital stay? What was it?
So actually, so it's me, my mom, my dad, and my brother. My
Mhm.
dad and my brother have both been type 1 for years.
Gotcha.
And then one day they were like out on a trip, and I woke up my mom, and I was like, I'm really thirsty, and I really have to pee, and I just had water 10 minutes ago, but I want some more. And she just
Mhm.
knew. She
Yeah.
knew from dealing with
Yeah.
my brother, and she
Yeah.
checked my blood sugar, and she was like, "Oh, it's 129. You're fine," but it was actually 429.
So
Yeah.
she was giving you just it's okay, calm down, don't worry.
And then behind the scenes, she was panicking.
Of course. Oh, bless her heart. I mean, on with a dad and her brother as type 1, I mean,
Mhm.
it's got to be a little bit more old hat at this point.
Like, I never went to the hospital or anything for it. I didn't know what
Go
DKA was until,
you.
like, 6 months ago.
Can
Oh,
I make a
really?
comment about that?
Yes.
DKA has come up on a lot of our shared diabetic groups on
Mhm.
Facebook. And like people are talking about how their loved ones have DKA like twice in a month or whatever. And I'm like, dude, I've
How?
had it once.
Mhm.
Once I was diagnosed 1999 and only had it once, and it was awful. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was amazingly awful. The only reason I didn't go to the hospital was because my husband was a paramedic at the time.
Mhm.
So, like, at least he knew. He was like, hey, I've got saline or whatever here. We can just drop that and it'll be fine, blah, blah, blah. But I don't get it. I think it's bananas that many
Mhm.
people have gone into DKA.
Now, for the non-diabetics out there, the people who are just listening to one of our shows for the first time, or me who always forgets, what exactly does
Big
DKA stand for?
surprise. Diabetic ketoacidosis.
Which, of course, you almost sound like you're going to go into like a Mary Poppins Disney song there. It's
No, because a
diabetic
spoonful of sugar
ketoacidosis.
isn't going to help anything
It's
go
that's the
down.
exact opposite. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Mary Poppins would have been a terrible nanny
Oh,
to type 1 diabetics.
yeah,
Yeah,
no, because she could have pulled out unlimited insulin from that bag. Like,
Yeah.
don't lie.
true.
She could have
That's
been,
true.
it would have been amazing.
So DKA, of course, is when
When your blood sugar goes too high, you're
Mhm,
dropping ketones because the sugar is just literally pouring out of you at that
mhm,
point. It makes you like, for me, I was throwing up nonstop, whether I
Mhm.
was just having ice cubes or water, it didn't matter. It was coming right back up. My body was like, nope, 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 nope. You're not going to put anything in. We're just going to make you vomit until you die, is how it feels.
and Sarah, you said you've only had this happen once in the past 10 years?
No, I didn't even know what it was until, like, 6
Oh,
months
okay.
ago.
I
Amazing.
Yeah, I thought you meant you just figured out what it was because you had, but you've never had that happen.
Mm-mm.
That's amazing. And
Once
Michelle,
once
it
Go ahead.
happens to you how often?
It happened to me once.
Just once? No,
I'm
I
not
didn't
going to
know how
curse anymore on our show, and you're
I
making it
didn't
very hard.
know how common an occurrence this is.
No, so DKA has only ever happened to me once, and that's not just having high blood sugars. I've had outrageously high blood sugars before, and I've
Mm,
been able to correct it. This is where your body is just like, nope, I don't care what you're giving me. I'm not
mhm.
coming down. Ha ha, piss off. Hospital stay for you.
Literally piss.
Exactly. Exactly. So, I mean, lows are a whole different animal.
Mhm.
Like, and I don't know about Sarah. That was the next question I was going to ask you. So, like, diabetic problems. What do you deal with?
Um, so, like, are you what sorta
Okay, so I'm saying, like, for me, I have lows pretty
Oh,
constantly.
mine's
And
highs.
okay, no, that's fine. So when you see yourself going on the lower side, though, do you feel it? Do you have like a visceral
Mhm.
reaction? Okay, that's good because I have no reaction. I can be like
Mm.
20 or 30 and still talk to you. I've done little videos where I can still answer questions and talk to you just like this and have no reaction. So that's been my biggest complication since getting
Mhm.
diagnosed. So, like for you, okay, so you're running a little bit higher. That sucks. I totally get it.
Mhm.
Have you seen any problems come from your diabetes?
Like,
But
health-wise or
yeah, totally.
not yet, thank God. Um, I mean, it mostly just makes me feel bad.
Yeah.
I get irritable, and like my roommates are like, "Sarah, your blood sugar's high."
It's that
Mhm.
you need a Snickers ad, but like all
Mhm.
fucked
The
up.
opposite, yeah, with
Excuse me.
insulin.
Yeah.
Excuse my language.
It's fine. It's fine. When I first met Michelle, she warned me. She's like, sometimes when my sugar's high, I get really moody, and when it's low, I get really irritated. And then I met her one day when her sugar was perfect. Turns out she's just not a nice person. She's just not a good person inside.
He thinks he's so funny, like he's a comedian or something.
Facts on facts on facts. So, Sarah, was it something, having seen your father and your brother go through, was it something that even at the age of like 8, you were kind of thinking this might be something I'm going to have to deal with? So were you like totally shocked when you found out you were diabetic, or did part of you kind of think this was going to happen to you as well?
So I also kind of don't remember because I was 8, but I remember
Mhm.
Right.
I was excited. I really was. As odd as it is, like my brother, he would go low and he'd get to have a snack. And then when I got
Mhm.
diagnosed, I was like, well, now I get to go low and have a snack.
I get a Snickers, a Milky Way, or a Twix bar too. Gosh darn it! No, I
Mhm.
understand that. I totally understand that.
So
Oh,
at 8 years old, did you start learning to give yourself injections, or was it your parents, or
Mhm.
how much of the routine did you start taking on your own?
Okay, so I started checking my blood sugar like right from the start, right from the get go,
okay.
because I had to go back to school. And mom was like,
Mhm.
I'm not going to stay all day at school, just check your blood sugar a few times.
Now, before
Um,
you
Yeah.
go any further, I want to ask you guys this. I've seen some videos where it's like things that diabetics shouldn't do, but we all do. And I
mhm.
guess one of the videos that pops up is a girl like, you should change your lancets after every use. And the girl like looks at the video and she's like, I don't think I've changed this in 3 months or something like
Yeah.
that. Is
Years.
that pretty common to?
Oh, yeah.
Years.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
And
yeah.
they give you a huge ass box of them too, which is what cracks me up. It's
You-
like they
the
give
first
you
box, you're like, this is a lifetime
no,
supply
no,
right
no,
here.
no. Like, and yeah, and every single time that your doctor re-ups it, you get this huge ass box of
Mhm.
Lancets, and you're like,
You're like, can I swap this out just for more insulin when I need
Yeah.
it? Can I trade this? So you started checking your own blood at school and everything.
hmm
And then what? Did you have to go to the nurse's office if you had to do an injection, or was it?
Yeah, starting off just because I was so young. But
Mhm.
once I got the insulin pump, I was terrified of that. I made my mom do it until I was like 13.
nah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. The
So
size
you
of those needles, you remember,
you went on the
like,
pump at 13, or when did you start going on the pump?
If I had to guess, I was gonna say around 11.
Okay.
okay.
I don't exactly know for sure, but it was around that time.
Do you
Okay.
remember what type of pump you had?
I
Like
had one of those.
Medtronic. It's probably
I
a
had the
Medtronic.
Animus
Crappy.
little
Oh,
pink.
okay.
Yeah,
Animus.
Mhm.
Yes.
the little pink ones.
Yeah, Michelle, I met her right after she got her pump, and it looked like a big rectangle,
Yeah,
and it had just enough cordage to where if it fell out, it wouldn't hit the ground. It would come within an inch of the ground and yank the site out.
yeah.
And I was just like, I didn't know I was dating a cyborg. That was ridiculous.
It's totally true. Like I'm sure as Sarah can attest, like everything hits you in all the wrong spots when you're diabetic. If you're
hmm
just doing needles and you all of a sudden got a really bad bruise on your stomach, that's the spot that you're gonna hit no matter what you're doing. If you're gonna
hmm
hit your midsection, it's gonna hit there.
Mm.
And it sucks.
Yeah.
It's like
The
add
worst part is
insult to
putting one in
injury.
and hitting a nerve or like a blood vessel. Oh,
You pull it out and it's like a horror movie. It's just
yeah, it's
spurting
blood.
blood everywhere.
I've had
That's
it go up through the
beautiful.
tube. I was
Oh,
like,
Yes, I have
oh,
too.
uh,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Yep. Or when you prick your finger for a
and it,
test and you, why is it not? And you squeeze it too hard and it's pow right all over your face. And you're just like, that's
no.
great. That's
exactly.
exactly what I wanted.
Now, Sarah, other than your father and your brother, when you were growing up, did you have friends who were also type 1, or was it like you were the only one in your class, so everybody just kind of
Yeah.
didn't
Dealt with
gel?
you.
Or
Well, in elementary school, I was diagnosed in 4th grade.
Mhm.
They were all like, "Oh my gosh, this is so exciting." They gave me like Littlest Pet Shops, like silly bands. It was
Aw.
great. And then once I got to middle school, there was 2 other girls, and we would always skip out on gym together because we would say our blood sugar was too high to run.
Heck yeah. Too
That's what I've
high?
said since day one of this podcast. You diabetics running these scams.
Let me just tell you of how many like tests I would have retaken back in the day if I knew I could be like, oh, my blood sugar was too high that day. And they had to legally give you a
Mhm.
retest
Mm,
with no questions asked. And I'm like,
mm,
what? I
So
could
they
have
don't
been
do that
in
in
college.
college.
Okay, I
yeah.
was going to say they probably don't because they're
One time my blood
bastards.
sugar dropped to like 45 during a test, and I had to spend like 20 minutes going to find apple juice or something. And I got back, and he was like, "Oh, time's up. Sorry." And I was like,
Oh, no. And see, I'm just giving you a little bit of that's when you turn around and you go, American Disabilities Act.
Mm,
Try me. And a
mhm,
lot of them get scared. I almost had a teacher on tenure
mhm,
"Mhm,
uh, get get fired because he wouldn't let me, and this was back in high school, he wouldn't let me go check my blood sugar. He thought I was going to go smoke a cigarette, and I'm like, no, listen, both my parents are smokers, that's why I continue. Okay, so I smoke too, but I didn't do it before school, so I
mm,
just smelled like a cigarette because that's where I came from. And he's
mhm,
like, "No, you're going to go smoke." And I went. I was like, "Bah!" And I walked down to the front office with no pass. I didn't give a shit. And I went up to the secretary, and I'm like, "He said he's going to make sure, like, I get suspension." And she goes, "Oh no!" She was a sweetheart. She knew about my diagnosis. She's like, "Oh no, honey girl, don't worry." And the principal came up and actually had to speak with him and go, no, you can't
mhm."
tell her no. It's a medical disability. Like, you got to do it. It would be like them going me to the stairs and me being in a wheelchair and them being like, no, you can walk. You can
Yeah.
walk. Do it. So I have to say, I mean, you have a lot of rights. Make sure
Mhm.
nobody prohibits you from taking care of yourself.
Oh, yeah, my mom used to tell me, she was like, if they don't let you, like, go get a snack or something, just get up and walk out."
mhm,
Totally, but don't
And I
allow
told her
yourself to get penalized for that because you
mm.
shouldn't be. This is a
yeah.
disability. You're not asking for a low in the middle of a test. It's not the perfect time to not be able to read things. So
I
it's
told her, I was like,
understandable.
"Next time it happens, I'm just gonna wait and pass out, and I can sue 'em."
There you go. Well,
Exactly.
there you go.
But
So, how was your whole high school experience? Were you involved in any extracurricular, like sports or anything like that? Or
so, since I went to early college, we didn't have sports.
oh, okay.
Yeah, so I didn't well, we had what was called Early College Cup, so we would go and compete against other early colleges, and I played volleyball for 2 years, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, I just did, like, a couple different clubs, like Red Cross, stuff like that. But now that I'm in college, I'm in a broken pancreas club, which is really fun.
That's
What?
awesome.
Yeah.
What? Broken Pancreas. I love it. It sounds like a '90s grunge band that never quite got off the ground. But so, what you guys do in Broken Pancreas? What do you guys do?
Um, well, I just joined it this year, so I don't we haven't had, like, a whole lot of meetings, but,
Pretty much just go in the hallway and boo people that have working pancreases.
yeah, we, like,
Ew.
had booths for, like, World Diabetes Week,
Mm-hmm.
Good.
and we, like, gave out stuff. We have a lot of people in there, actually, most of which aren't actually diabetic, they just have, like, family members and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that, but it's really fun. I just
I,
like I like knowing people who have the same disease as me.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
no, it's important because I think, and Mike, I feel like you'll agree with me on this, but most, if not all, shut up, most, if not all, the people that we've had on, like, they don't know a lot of type 1 diabetics.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and you just don't. It's one of those things that I had one girl that I went to high school with that was type 1 diabetic. Weirdly enough, came to work for me later in life. But aside from her, there was no meet and greets, or there wasn't, when I was younger, there wasn't as camps or stuff like that to send people to go to. So I literally had type 2 diabetic doctors because they only treated adults. So they knew nothing. And I didn't know anybody else. So it wasn't until Facebook that I started to really feel like I could connect with people that understood what I was going through. And it could be family members, it could be mothers of type 1s or sisters, but I mean, we've seen them all in the groups. And I think that's amazing. And it's beautiful to see us all coming out now and going, we haven't had this kind of social gathering that we're able to have now. And it's just nice. It's uplifting.
It's always easier when you're going through something to know you're not going through it alone. To be able, because as many times as you would tell me your blood sugar was high or it was low or you were just in a mood because of something or frustrated, as much as I wanted to understand it, since I didn't experience it firsthand, I never really knew how bad it was. You know?
And no, I don't think a lot of people do. I mean, I've had people tell me, well, you don't look overweight, so you can't have diabetes.
All the time. All the time.
Oh my God.
You're like, you don't look that fat. I'm
like, oh my God, did your parents just feed
thanks,
you like
I guess?
Yeah, did your parents give you too much sugar as a little kid and it just died? And actually, in one of our last episodes, somebody commented and said the cure for diabetes is a plant-based diet. And I'm like, really? That's going to restart my pancreas? Nope.
So
I would have done it 10 years ago.
I know, right? Like, I fine, cut out meat. I don't give a crap at this point.
A little more lettuce, some daffodils. You guys are on your way.
I mean, that's all apparently I need. That and cinnamon. Roll me in cinnamon. But it's one of those things, the misconceptions of type 1 diabetes can be detrimental to our health. It really can. So, Sarah, what do you use now to get down with diabetes? Are you an MDI? Do you use a pump?
I use a pump.
Pens? Okay, what pump are you on now?
I'm on the 670.
Nice.
I just got it for my birthday because my warranty ran out.
The 670, who's that from?
Medtronic.
Oh, okay. It honestly, when you showed it to me, it looked like an iPod. I was like, what's that? That's great. Yeah.
So
better
many
than the
people
one I
think
had
that.
before.
Yeah. So that's your monitor, right? But it's the pump. Is it the pump and monitor in one? Like, is it the?
So the blood checker I have connects to it. So it's like I still have to check it because I don't have the Dexcom yet.
Nice.
Okay.
So what blood checker do you use?
Oh gosh, I don't even know what it's called. It came with it. It's like the little slim one that's like gray.
Okay, I know what you're talking about. I'm on the Freestyle Libre right now, which I'm not gonna lie, I love. I kind of love it more than the Dexcom. You have to feel for yourself, of course. They are having a lot of problems with adhesive right now.
I was seeing that on Facebook.
Oh my God. So a lot of people, and that doesn't mean that you or I or whoever else is going to, but a lot of people have noted that it's making them welt up or lose skin and stuff like that. So it's like,
yeah.
So if you do get it, I did hear there's a lot of success with using Flonase. You would spray your skin before doing it because it'll quiet down any allergic reaction that you might have. But this is also something I think Dexcom needs to improve. You have this many people. You have a Facebook group just dedicated to why Dexcom is ripping your skin off. maybe you should improve it. But que sera. So,
So,
okay.
Sarah, you got any hacks or tips or inside bits of living with diabetes you could give to the listeners, like stuff you've learned along the way that helps you cope or handle it or manage it, or anything that alleviates you when you're feeling?
Not really. Not really.
Okay, so say if your best friend was recently diagnosed with a latent adult diagnosis, what would you say would be your biggest, like, just reason to keep going? Because we all know it's, oh, well, okay, you and I know it sucks.
Mhm.
And we have pricks constantly in person and in needles. So, I mean, what would you, for me personally, like, I'll just give you my answer first. Um, it's my daughter. I have a
Mhm.
healthy 11, soon to be 20-year-old daughter, and she, no matter how hard things get, and things get really, really hard, she's the reason I get up in the morning. Like,
Mhm.
she's the reason why I do things that I do when I don't want to do it. Do you find that there's something in your life that just keeps you going? I mean, shit, at this point, it could be a pet, it could be a teddy bear, it doesn't matter.
Mhm.
What in your life is like, that's the reason why I'm going to keep taking needles?
Probably my family. I'm very close with my family.
Good.
I come every day. If anything goes wrong or if I'm in an argument, I'm like, "Hey, Dad, like, what do I say?" Or
Yeah,
I'm like, "Hey, Mom, what
totally.
do I do?" Or like my brother calls me with like random things. Like the other day he's at college also, and he called me
Mhm.
and he was like, "Sarah, there's like 3 frat parties going on. Am I supposed to call the cops? 'Cause COVID?" And I was like,
Yeah.
F yeah, call the cops. Like, support the nachos across the street and just, like, watch it unravel. But, that and I just know with my luck, the one day that something bad happens with it, they're gonna find a cure.
Thank you.
The
Ah,
one day.
yes.
Well,
Yes.
that's like I think it was in the '80s when the top of the line toupee was actually you would go and get these screws bolted into your head, and they
Oh.
had snaps on the toupee. So it was like a Frankenstein thing where you could snap it on, and they were like advertising this as the newest toupee. And look, you can go swimming, and you don't have to worry about glue. So like some people went and had metal bolts put into their head so they could snap it on. And like less than 6 months later, the first Hair Club for Men commercial came out where they're like, "Hey, what we do now is we take the hair from your ass and we put it on your head, and no one even notices." I just imagine all these guys going through the metal detector at airports, like, oh, it's the toupee. Yeah, no, Hair Club from then came out in '92. This was '91.
You have a gun? No, sorry, it's just my hair clip.
Just my hair. Like 6 bald guys went ahead of him. Nobody laughed, but this guy walks through and they're like, okay, we're chuckling here.
Oh
So
my
yeah,
God.
that's just the day after you do something, the
I love
technology
that.
comes along. Yeah.
I love that. Oh my God, that's great.
Yeah.
And we, of course, and Sarah, you might agree with me. We've heard 5 years, five
Yes.
years and a cure. We've been hearing that for, in my case, over 20 years.
Mhm.
Like,
My mom's been hearing it since my brother was diagnosed in 2002. Oh,
Mm.
5 years. There's a cure.
5 years, totally. And you said your dad's a type 1. Was he diagnosed as like a kid, or was he diagnosed like late in adult?
He was 8,
Oh,
so he was diagnosed in,
Oh.
like, 76.
So he
wow.
was diagnosed in the same, at the same
Mhm.
number of years than as you were. What about your
Mm.
brother? Was he
He was
diagnosed like,
diagnosed at 22 months, so my mom was 8 months pregnant with me.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
so she had to deal with a new diabetic and a newborn.
oh
Well, that
my God.
might be the youngest type 1 diabetic.
No,
3
13
months,
months. 13
Wow.
months was the
13 months
youngest.
was Colleen, right?
Colleen,
Yeah.
yes.
Well,
Wow.
Sarah,
Yes.
I gotta say, it might be because you're probably the youngest person we've had on the podcast so far, but you are nowhere
Yeah.
near as bitter and cynical as everybody else we've had so far. You're a very happy, cheery person. And I'm wondering, is it because it, like, I've realized that with type 1 diabetics, it affects them differently. Just because you're type 1, you don't all go through the same thing. How much of it, like obviously you're wearing the pump and everything, but how much do you find it affects your daily activity? Is it something like,
Oh gosh, so much. Like you
really?
you can't go through a day without like it affecting something. That's
Okay.
just the way it is.
Okay, because you were just mind you, all I see is you on my screen,
Yeah.
and you just seem like cheerful and carefree. And then you got realized for the past how many years this was the only diabetic I knew. So you're just like, yeah, exactly. You're just such a ray of light in the darkness here, Sarah.
Because my blood sugar's good right now.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
I'm gonna
That's
check my
what
blood sugar right now.
Now-
I'm not gonna lie.
So even with the monitor and the pump and everything, how often do you find yourself going out of range? Like, is it worse in the mornings or at night? Where are you at, Michelle?
I'm at 57 going down, so I'm gonna sneak off. You two chat amongst yourselves.
Okay.
I'm just gonna get some chocolate juice, a glucose tabs.
Chocolate juice.
Chocolate
So-
juice, crack.
Exactly. I'll be right back. Can't hear you.
But no, I mean, there's no sense in being bitter about it. You
Mhm.
got to deal with it. So
Mhm.
you might as well make the best of it. But as I was saying earlier, it's like you have a good day. You're like, all right, today's going great. My blood sugars have been great. Grades are great. Oh, psych, messed up. 500.
Oh.
Yay. Or like you'll go out and do exercise and you'll sweat it off.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like everything.
So
That was a good angle.
yeah. So basically, every meal, everything you do has a consequence with the diabetes.
I mean, that's like one of the biggest struggles is, well, for me personally, is counting carbs and just like counting it correctly enough to where I don't spike.
Mm-hmm.
And it's mostly at night. Like I wake up fine in the morning, but throughout the day, it just.
What'd you end up getting over there, Miss? You got some Kit Kats? What are you doing?
Yeah, I keep muting you so you don't hear me chew, so you can't yell
Don't,
at me.
because every time you unmute, we hear. So
Can't be happy, can you?
no, just stay right. Just stay right there. You're good. You ever see? I don't have OCD, but you ever see that picture of someone who took a Kit Kat bar and just did the one bite from the corner? And like, I don't know why that makes the hair on the back of my neck. I'm like, that's not the way you do it. Like that will. I don't have diabetes, but that will ruin my day. For the rest of the day, I'm like, there's animals.
Yeah.
You peel it?
I like eat the chocolate layer off first, and then I eat the wafer part.
No, that's okay, but you can carb for that. You can at least
Yeah.
shake for that. Whereas if you just bite up, no.
Mm-hmm. My 6-year-old gets donuts and doesn't lick the frosting off, but he eats it off and then puts just the donut part back. So it's just like it looks like squirrels got it and gnawed the top of the donut. And I don't know why he tells me to, that doesn't count as him having a whole donut, so he should get another one. I'm like, you don't get to eat just the top half of the donuts. He's like, you said we could split donuts in half. I'm like, yeah, this way. We don't do that way. So
I do that with muffins. I just eat the muffin top and I leave the bottom for snack. Like that Seinfeld episode.
Yep.
Yes.
You see that a lot. They're like, yeah, we sold the muffin tops. What happened to the bottoms? We don't talk about the bottoms.
They must have fallen.
Or like my dad had me convinced at one point that the donut holes you get at the donut shop were the holes that they poked out of the donuts, because I didn't know how donuts were made. And like, if you ever seen a donut machine, it actually there's no poking the hole. It's like a whoop whoop. So I remember being like 9 years old and really upset because I felt like if I'm paying for the donut, I should get what used to be in the donut. Why are the holes extra?
I should get the donuts and the donut hole all in one pack.
So Sarah, speaking of food and snacks, what's the one food or one snack that you're like, I know I'm gonna pay for this later, but man, I just want this right now?
Mac and cheese.
There you go. Now, are you
mac and cheese.
Are you a Kraft mac and cheese, or are you one of those, any mac and cheese?
Name brand, off brand, shells.
And
All it needs to have is pasta and cheese and the
Yes.
right amount of ratio.
on
Gotcha.
another show I do, I got this guy get into it because he's mad I won't have his baked mac and cheese where he does it in a pan. He's like, "Oh, you need the crispy. I don't want anything crunchy in my mac and cheese." And he's like, "So are you do you like a textured mac and cheese or just straight up mac and cheese?"
She doesn't care.
It's mac and cheese.
There's the answer.
What if though I did see a Facebook post today and it said if I go in and take a scoop of your mac and cheese and peas come at me, you're
Mhm.
dead to me.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So if they apparently like it's a white person thing that I've never heard of.
Yeah.
So they throw peas in it.
I got the same thing a buddy asked me the other day. He's like, "How come you white people put raisins in your potato salad?" I'm like, number one, I don't eat potato salad.
Yeah.
Number two, if I did, I wouldn't put raisins in it. Number three, how can you just say white people like that? How can you just roll up on me and accuse me of being
because
my
all
whole
the white
culture of
people
being?
that have come to their barbecues have brought that apparently, and they're hanging out with the wrong kind of white people. That's all I have to.
That's just crazy. I think the people who do that are just like, let me make this and see if anyone actually eats it. You can't really enjoy that.
Let me
It's
just
not a
mess
thing.
you up. Are you gonna eat it? Let's see.
Mhm. So mac and cheese is your go-to. Now, mac and cheese, see, that didn't even hit me. Like I thought you were going to say something like, we had a woman on here who liked her hot fudge sundaes. Of course, Michelle likes funnel cakes. Mac and cheese just
He
seems
says
like
this. I haven't had a funnel cake in, let me tell you, over 10 years. Okay, over 10 years has been the
Okay.
last time since I've had a funnel cake.
This isn't Funnel Cakes Anonymous. Nobody needs your life story right now. Chill. We're talking about Sarah. It's about
Yeah,
Sarah right now.
So Sarah.
I hope that Kit Kat hurt. I hope that Kit Kat hits you soon.
You
back
can't
where
even
you need to
say
be.
it. You don't hope anything.
I'm so sorry, Sarah.
So anyway, Sarah, let's forget Mike because he obviously is just in his own world.
Done it before. All right.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Did y'all see that Facebook post about that woman who got mad at her 13-year-old because she forgot? Did you see that?
Okay, the one
Got
that was
mad
punishing.
For what?
So they were going okay. So the lady and her husband were going out to a party, and her 13-year-old daughter had went to the beach, and they were so upset because she forgot like the cartridge part, so they had to drive 2 hours to go bring it to her. And her
Different than
husband,
what I thought.
yeah, her husband was so mad that they had to skip out on their first party after COVID to go bring it to her, and that they took her home from the beach, like to punish her. And everyone was commenting like,
"How dare you have
13.
diabetes when I'm trying to party?"
They're like, "She's 13. You're the one that should make sure she has it."
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things. I think with diabetes, no matter, and it was actually going to bring me to a question I was going to ask you. If a kid gets diagnosed and they're very, very young, we've had people on here that have been for or against them getting the equipment they need. So we've had an amazing woman, Tracy Herbert, on here who runs a charity to get kids the supplies that they need when they're diagnosed with type 1 diabetes.
Wow.
Which I'm for. However, I run a really fine line of I'm for any child, they should all get Dexcom as soon as they're diagnosed. Because as I'm sure your mom can attest to, unexpected lows suck ass. Like, it's just the way they are. Especially if she had 3 of you going at once, unexpected lows are never a fun time.
That
But
poor woman.
yeah, oh my God. And God love you, your dad, your brother. Because that's a lot to deal with. But I had other people on before that say that you guys should go through, we should go through a time of having to do your own sliding scales and your own long acting insulin, because if electronics fail you, you need to know how to do it yourself. And I agree with that. I totally agree with that. Because Lord knows when I have had my times of MDI vacations, multiple daily injection, as I say for Mike, vacations, you have to know how to do that.
Mhm.
You have to know how to do your own bolus corrections for your meals, your carbohydrate sensitivity, for your blood sugar. Like, you have to know all of it. How do you feel on it?
So, okay. Hold on,
Mhm.
let me form my thought.
Yeah.
I would basically say that okay. Okay, so I feel like that they should get that electronic, like, from the get-go. I mean, it's available. There's no
Mhm.
sense in, like, putting them off of that when they have it available and it could help them from
Mhm.
the get-go. However, I feel like they shouldn't just know how to press buttons. Like, they
Right.
should, like, learn their carb ratios, learn their, like, blood sugar to unit ratios and stuff like
Mhm.
that, and I feel like by incorporating that into using the pump, then it'll be easier for them to do it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
So
completely agree. You have to know your basics
mhm,
before you level up. I
yeah,
mean, that's all that you can do. And if
So
you know your basics, no matter how you're leveling up or not at that point, you can always take care of yourself.
mhm.
so Sarah, what year are you in college right now?
I'm a senior.
You're a senior, and
Woohoo!
where are you going to school? What are you studying?
I'm studying, cellular and molecular biology.
You're gonna have to say that again because I'm slow.
Cellular and molecular biology.
Okay, and
Wow.
since I live in Orlando, Florida, and we don't have a cellular and molecular biology shop around the corner, what are you? Where do you go to work? What do you do with that?
Mostly research.
Oh yeah.
Um, I mean, there's, like, a lot of different things you can do just because it is a biology degree, but
Hmm.
mostly research, and I wanna get my master's in healthcare administration.
So obviously, taking a workload like that, you have focus of kind of what you're looking to do
Mhm.
when you graduate. What are you looking to get into?
Whew. I don't really know yet. I'm in a virology class right now, and my
Hmm.
professor is studying how viruses can kill cancer cells, and so that's really interesting, and then maybe they can or, like, I can find something that is sort of the same with diabetes,
Hmm.
like, to find a mutation or something that you can inject to
Now,
Yeah.
relive it, yeah.
being in a class like that during a pandemic like this, how hard is it for you to scroll through social media when the guy that changes tires down at Tire King is telling us what we need to worry about with this virus and what we don't need to worry about?
But
How
see,
much
I like
stuff do you?
online classes.
Yeah, no,
I love them.
online classes are great. I think what I'm saying is, how much do you see on social media of people who just don't have the
The
basic?
stupidity, how does it kill you?
Oh god. I just don't look at it half the time. I'll, like, go by since most of my classes are online, I'll just, like, drive by campus, and there'll be,
Mm,
like, groups of people sitting there without a mask.
mhm,
Or, like, the
mm,
the bus will pass, and there's, like, nobody on the bus wearing a mask.
mhm.
I think it's absolutely ridiculous.
You're the reason why we're going to get stuck into 2021 with this crap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I work at health services, so it's like I get to see how many positive cases, how many negative
Mm,
cases we have,
Mhm.
and
mhm.
we're, like, one of the only schools who are going down. Like, our case
Nice,
numbers are going down despite
nice.
nobody wearing a stupid mask.
Uh, uh,
Unfortunately, that fuels the dumbasses that are
mm,
like, we don't
Yeah.
need to wear a mask. Let's
mm.
hang out with all these
I
people.
haven't been wearing a mask. Why do I start now if the cases are
Yeah,
going down?
exactly. It's like, no, don't. No.
Nothing makes me happier than when I see like a Twitter thread or a Facebook comment feed and it's someone going, "Hey, maybe we leave the politics to the politicians or the law to the lawyers." And then the next
But
comment
you
is
won't
like,
leave the science to
"No."
the doctors. No, fuck
The next
them.
comment is always like someone going, "Actually, I am a lawyer and here's my credentials." I'm like, "Oh, well played." Yeah. I get it with comedy a lot. Like Jim Gaffigan last week came out and just said a whole bunch of things about the president, and people are like, "Well, maybe, just maybe, you should stick to comedy and not worry about politics." I'm like, "Yeah, but you're a real estate agent telling him to stick to comedy. Maybe you should Stick
Stick to
and we're gonna
houses.
yeah, and we're gonna keep entertainers out of it. I agree. There's no reason a reality TV star should be running the country right now. I
Yeah.
totally agree.
If
Just
you're going to turn our government into a reality TV show, maybe don't bash the celebrities that have worked with you before
Yeah.
and gone, no, you're shitty.
Yeah. I will say this, though. A couple of weeks ago when he was signing that whole new, hey, we're going to get insulin to the people who need it and lower the
Fuck
cost of
ever.
medications. And I think he saw that wasn't getting him enough votes. So he was like, okay, we're done with this week. Obviously,
We're not going to talk about it anymore.
When he
because
found out-
nobody loves me enough for this.
when he
so.
found out that only 5% of diabetics are type 1, he's like, oh, then there's no rush. They're not all
Oh my
voters.
God, who am I pandering to?
Mm.
Screw off. Let's
So-
go to these people.
Well, Sarah, it's awesome to see that you're doing something like that. I'm very, very jealous. However, we always ask this towards the end. What advice have non-diabetics given you over the years when they find out you're diabetic? What unsolicited cures or treatments have you had people just walk up on the street and go, well, you know how you fix that?
You ask always the lame question of what advice would you give to a diabetic
Mhm.
that you wish you had been given. And then I get to ask the cool question of what crappy advice have you been given? Yeah, no. That I mean, there's
Okay.
receipts. We could look into episodes. So whatever. So we're gonna like balk over his. Sarah, what lame advice have you been given as a type 1 by people?
Oh, wow. Michelle had to go into the green room for some reason. I don't know. So, Sarah, now that's just you and I here. What? Okay. Oh, look, she's back. Look at that. She's back. You
So
forget.
Sarah.
You're
I
mad
can-
because your blood sugar's low.
Exactly. Obviously, it must be my blood sugar or whatever.
Yeah. So go ahead, Michelle. I didn't mean to take your one job away
No.
from you. So go ahead.
So, Sarah, what BS things have you been told is the reason why you're diabetic or what you should do to become not a diabetic? We have heard pumpkin seeds, cold showers, apple cider vinegar.
I've heard the cold
cinnamon.
showers too.
Cold
I've heard
showers.
brushing your teeth would lower your blood sugar.
What will?
Brushing your teeth.
That is the first time I've heard that one.
Wow, that's a new one.
You
One
got
of
to
my
make
roommates
sure
said it.
make sure the toothpaste is sugar free. That's where you're messing up.
Are you using Sensodyne? You should use
Use
Sensodyne.
Sensodyne.
No, I've heard
Wow.
just get your pancreas removed, like get a transplant. And I'm like, well, then I'm gonna have to be on pills the rest of my life so it doesn't kill it again.
And let me just tell you, like, two things. One, when you get a pancreas transplant, they keep the old pancreas there. They don't get rid of it. They don't take it out. They keep it there because if your new one fails, your old one is usually doing something to help digestion. So they don't want to screw it up.
Yeah.
And immunosuppressives blow. They are awful. As someone who was on them for more than 10 years myself, they suck. There's nothing good about them.
It's
And
another thing to have to remember to take.
you can be on 30 pills a day. I mean, because it's not the BS immunosuppressives. It's the 20 other pills that you have to take to make the immunosuppressives worth it.
Yeah.
And I mean, yes, it was a beautiful weight on my immunosuppressant, but I was puking every day. So it was like eating disorder at its best, I guess, because I had a reason. But if you don't have to do it, you shouldn't.
Yeah. I've had someone tell me to stop drinking diet soda.
And oh my God, do you know how it's unhealthy for you? I'm like,
it's more unhealthy to drink diet than regular. I'm like,
I'm like, really, regular
I'll
would
drink
kill me,
that.
so I don't know. Exactly. It's stupid people, and it's those people that get off work and have the, I'm gonna have 3 regular sodas. It's nothing, and I'm like, that's like 6 Snickers. I mean, I would rather have the Snickers.
Me too. I'd rather have the mac and cheese.
The mac and cheese, unless it has peas.
Mm.
Just the noodles
Now
and cheese.
I'm gonna have to find that picture again and forward it to you.
Yes.
Because it's this beautiful baked mac and cheese. And then you can just see one scoop came out and it was all peas on the inside.
Mm-mm. No thanks.
That's
Not
disgusting.
today.
All right, guys. Well, I think we're just about out of time. So, Michelle, you got anything you wanted to wrap up with?
No, I have to say it was lovely talking to you. Even though you're not.
I was going to say,
know.
have you got over the fact that there's no relation to Xena Warrior Princess?
I haven't. I love her.
Were you talking to me?
Like, I love her. Yeah, exactly. I love her so much, and it's so sad. But I still really appreciate you. It was great having you on. It was great.
Thank you guys for having me. It was a lot of fun.
It was amazing hearing your story. So I hope things go well, and I hope we get to continually banter through our diabetes journey.
Can I add you on Facebook?
Oh my God, totally.
Because I don't think we're friends yet.
No, I don't think we are either. Like, I hate to go out there and be like, friends, and then some people are like, yeah, no. So totally, friend request me, I'll accept. Let's
Awesome.
Yeah, let's go back and forth. God damn, now I'm feeling the low symptoms, so it's starting to make me shaky. So I guess it's better that we end now. But like, I can feel the sweat and
oh yeah,
down my back, and it's
the heart beating.
Oh my God! Like, and I'm not wearing my stupid watch now, so it can't alert me. Like, algorithm is bad, so I'm getting sweaty. So we're gonna go.
That's
but
it was probably a good idea.
It was great talking to you. I hope all good things for your masters and what have you, and
I hope
research, because there need to be more guinea pigs. It's the only way that we're gonna learn.
Hopefully I'll be the one to find the cure.
What? And then we'll be like, you remember when we had Sarah Lawless?
They're gonna be all some clout.
Related to Lucy Lawless, but still Dr. Sarah Lawless. She found the cure. It'll be great. It will be. So, all right. Well, thank you. And thanks everybody for listening, because we wouldn't be us without you. So, yeah. Woo woo! Tune in next week. I don't know. We might have somebody. We might not. It just might be me and high blood sugar. You never know. So, say goodbye, Mike.
Goodbye.
Oh, you didn't goodbye, Mike. Like,
I know, I was waiting for it.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't like to do the same gag in one episode.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But check
Go
us out.
suck on us, sweetheart.
Like us, subscribe us, favorite us, turn your notifications on so you see us. Because we're not going away.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.